The Loeb class of 2015 has had a great year. We have engaged with students, we've engaged with faculty, we've interacted with people in the city, and it's been a wonderful experience all around.
Interacting with the Loebs is the highlight of the year, amongst many other things, but this amazing group of people that all have expertise in what they're doing, but still care for you and your well-being and your career is amazing.
Yeah, I love that we are living like 5 fellows in one house and another 5 fellows in another house, and how we share things among us and families and the children together. So I love having neighbors and family and friends. You just knock on the door, so that's great.
One of the highlights was the fellowship with the other Loebs. Meeting LaShawn Hoffman at the start of the fellowship year and being able to talk about a community land trust when I've run a conservation land trust, there was a lot of learning that took place there and a lot of good friendships were formed with all of the Loebs.
Part of this year has also been learning from each other and learning how to augment what we do and collaborate with each other.
The collaboration that I've had with many of the Loebs, planning with Loeb on the research and planning project that we currently are doing today.
The most rewarding experience that I've had is working with LaShawn Hoffman, Loeb in my class, and 6 graduate students, looking at how to build community control of a local food system to benefit local small-scale farmers in Southwest Georgia. And we have collaborated now with Loebs from previous classes. So we're working with Seitu Jones, who's a public artist.
And Nidra Fears, who joined us for the study tour, where we went to Albany, Georgia, and spent 2.5 days with Charles and Shirley Sherrod, civil rights activists and leaders.
And look at this incredible space that they have, a big box store, that they're tasked with not only figuring out how to turn part of it into a food hub, but how to enliven the rest of the space so it serves the community. And seeing that question about how to do that through the lens of students who are looking at the issues around finance, around leadership and values, and of course around the architecture and the feel of the space has been very eye-opening and lots of fun.
I have learned quite a bit from Thaddeus's work in Resiliency and was a part of early conversations with the competition about whether or not community engagement can be a part of a competition process as one idea, but also not just the process of the competition itself, but how do you design for resiliency with community?
Well, this is the trophy for the Living with Water competition. It's a telescope. We have been named as finalists in the Boston Redevelopment Authority's Living with Water competition. I worked on this project with about 25 students from different disciplines at the GSD. We tried as much as possible to make the competition entry an event that involved the faculty and the students and staff from the GSD. So we had a series of workshops with people in the community, but also with faculty members, and we tried to capitalize on their expertise. Really fabulous faculty that have all been looking at this issue from their own unique perspectives and research, and so the students benefited a lot from hearing these different points of view.
The students have definitely been one of the highlights of my Loeb year, getting to know the Masters in Urban Planning and the design students, and even working with them directly on trying to fill out what is the Better Blocks unique approach in the planning process. And it's been interesting to find some of those that have taken it on as their own projects.
One of the other highlights of the Loeb year was the interaction with the students. I taught. I led a group of urban planners and landscape architects in a study of large landscape conservation, and it was really an exceptional learning activity and a great time with the students.
Well, a lot of activities that have included interacting with the students I have enjoyed a lot. Also giving a little tutorial on the J-term period and going on site with some students to the Emerald Necklace and looking at that and analyzing that from a landscape architect's perspective. And I felt that I could give something to the students, and I also got back some really good ideas and insights from them.
Big part of the Loeb year is obviously the trips we take, which have been amazing this year. India, New Orleans, lots of other places. But maybe for me, the highlight was maybe the most simple trip we did, which was up to Maine.
The retreat that we had in Maine was fabulous, to get to know my fellows and to learn about what they're doing, and that we all live in one house for a retreat, and we get to interact and you get to see the real people.
It was a really memorable trip and sort of the time when the group really became more than just 10 individuals or 12 individuals and became a group.
It was very exciting to be a part of the Agra studio, Extreme Urbanism, with Rahul Malhotra and his students.
To go there with so many smart students and then to be able to interact directly with government while we were there.
And being able to work with them on the various issues they were dealing with in terms of sewage treatment and river conservation and community development in these informal settlements and slums.
It's forever changed the way that I approach countries that are developing, and then given me ammunition of how do we look at American cities as they are battling with resiliency, climate change, and environmental degradation that's happening today.
On our study trip to New Orleans, it was very helpful for me because that was exactly the time our team was being selected as a Future Ground finalist. And the New Orleans Loebs were really helpful in helping me see some of the issues and the ways that we could make an impact on vacant lots in that city.
So if there's never a former Loeb, I learned that when we went to New Orleans this year, and I got to see some of the future people that I'm going to be able to work with through this program. And it was especially enheartening to me to go back to New Orleans, one of the places that first arose this kind of rebel spirit in myself, was working there 5 or 6 years ago. And so to interact with the Loebs and see through their lens of how this city is reemerging from such a major catastrophe was really touching to me, and is going to stay with me for the rest of my life.
I was very lucky to be included in studios, both in the real estate, MDes, and also in urban design. So I gave lectures, but also was a part of the final reviews and even the midterm reviews.
Of course, the freedom of the Loeb Fellowship to take classes in other schools is part of the attraction.
I took some classes at the Kennedy School. I did lectures at the MIT. And then at the GST, I found the classes that were really sort of almost, it were the classes that I thought I would be doing all year round, but it was enough for me just to take few of them and sort of see what they were talking about, get the syllabus, and then I sort of could start dropping out of them little by little after being advised not to take so many classes.
One thing that I feel very happy about is being able to, when I get excited about a certain person, professor or leader, the fellowship has offered me an opportunity to bring that to the group as well. So whether it's Jonathan Rose or having Marshall Gans over for dinner, that this is an ability to just bring together some things that we're each exploring and develop that for ourselves personally.
It's been absolutely amazing year from start to finish, and it's finishing off quite strongly, I have to say.
The Loeb year has helped me to reframe my work significantly, and while I was hoping that it would expand, it's also helped to sort of let me talk about it differently. So I really am looking at my work much more through a human rights and civil rights framework.
As part of my ongoing work, I also was able to incorporate some of the things I learned this year at the GSD, especially around housing and housing typologies, into the work I'm doing that will continue on to next year.
This year, the urban core planning students are looking at all the gateway cities around Boston. And this is really my bread and butter area of looking at places that are a bit blighted and need more than just physical infrastructure. They need a perception change. And they've taken portions of the Better Block and applied that to their community outreach approach. And I hope actually the next year to stay around in Boston and come back and work with some of those communities.